Waste is just a resource out of place. In the beginning of 2022, I decided to try my best to buy as much of the things I buy secondhand. For one, I had really strong environmental reasons. We live in a society where we just buy new and throw out the old without thinking too much about the consequences, especially in the environmental consequences. We are in such a consumer epidemic, and I didn't want to participate in that anymore. I wanted to try to damage the environment, nature, and the planet as little as possible with my actions. And so one way was not to use up new resources as much as possible, to buy old. And there's so much that people have lying around that they don't want, and one man's trash is another man's treasure, and I truly believe that. And the cherry on top was just that I'm able to save money on this journey or on this experiment, and also find really unique and special items. So I started tracking everything I bought this year, whether it was used or new, just to see what type of things I was able to buy secondhand and what things I did decide to buy new. And it was really interesting going through that list and looking at all the things I've bought, and also really eye-opening to see how much I've actually bought this year. So obviously the year isn't over yet, so this is only part one, and at the end of the year I will do another part two, just because I've already bought quite a lot this year, and it's very surprising and a little shocking and a little worrying. But as a minimalist, it's really interesting to see how and where you spend your money, what things you buy and don't buy. And it's a great way for me to then use that information to optimize and think about, did I actually need this? Or did I need to buy this new? Was I able to buy the secondhand? This whole process was just so much fun, and I found so many amazing things secondhand, and there are so many things available secondhand. When you think of secondhand, or at least I used to think of gross stained sheets and smelly couches with very suspicious stains on them. But the truth is, a lot of secondhand things are actually brand new, just because, as I said, we live in this throwaway society. So I wanted to go through all things I bought secondhand first, and then go through the things I did decide to buy new. So the first thing I bought secondhand, or the first things I bought secondhand, was furniture. So in the beginning of the year, we moved into this apartment and we barely had any furniture to begin with, so we needed a few things. And we wanted to try to buy everything secondhand as much as possible. And we did manage to do that. And that was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that that was a possibility for us. So the first thing we bought was the carpet that I'm sitting on. It is such a beautiful carpet. Now, this carpet is secondhand, and it's actually even antique. I love that this carpet is kind of like a recycled carpet. They use the remaining good parts of old carpets and then patch that up into one big carpet. And I think it's just so beautiful and so stunning and interesting, thinking about all the feet that walked over this carpet, and I'm absolutely in love with this treasure. Then we also decided to get a little comfy armchair instead of a sofa, and that was also a great find. We bought it for, I think, 60 euros instead of 200 to 300 if we would have bought it new. I didn't know that armchairs were that expensive. It was an adventure getting it here, since the person that sold it did live around the corner, but still this thing was so heavy. It weighs like 80 kilograms. And so we were heaving it here, and it's actually raining, but we managed to do it, and we got it for a great deal, and we're able to save on the environment. And a similar story with our dining table, which was so cheap for only 10 euros, and it's solid wood. And I don't even know from what time period this is, or if the owner actually even crafted the table himself or herself. But it was such an interesting apartment where the table came from. I think it was a old lady's that had sadly passed away, and her son was trying to sell some of her things, and her apartment was just a fairy tale apartment. Each room was so different. It was as if elves lived there, and everything was decorated. There was beautiful flower tapestry everywhere, and it was just so cozy and cute, the apartment. It was so lovely just walking into that apartment and being able to appreciate now the table that we were able to take over from her. And that's just the added bonus when it comes to secondhand items, is that they're pre-loved and you get to kind of carry on and take over the item that you were able to get. And also we managed to get a mirror and also the lamp right here for secondhand, both things that are pretty expensive usually if you buy them new. So we were able to get an amazing deal secondhand. Now we don't own a car, so sometimes getting secondhand things can be a little tricky. For the table and the armchair, we were able to carry it since it was around the corner, but the other things were a little bit further away. With the lamp, luckily it's not too bulky. We actually biked there and then biked back with the lamp. With the mirror, that wasn't possible, but we were able to ask the previous owner whether she was able to use her car to deliver it to us, and we'd pay a little bit more for that. I also just love the interactions with the people when it comes to buying secondhand. Also, to decorate our home a little bit, we bought picture frames secondhand as well. I was looking for some, and I thought picture frames is something that everyone, or probably most people, have some lying around that they don't need, and it's something that is so basic. Yet when you buy them new, they can be a little bit expensive depending on what kind you get. But I was so convinced that people had to have picture frames lying around. I don't need to buy this new. And luckily I was able to find really beautiful ones, again, close to where we live, and I just picked that up on my bike as well. Then we also knew that we wanted to plant some vegetables and some flowers on our balcony, and we needed some planters for that, or pots. And this too, I thought was something that people just have lying around at home that they don't need, and it's something that I think people often throw away because they don't think that they would be able to sell it well. But this was an item that was difficult to find secondhand for some reason. I didn't see much when I was looking on eBay, but I was persistent. I kept on looking and I got creative and was actually able to buy these wooden crates that are so beautiful. The previous owner actually has, or I think the previous owner has, an apple farm. At least they said that they used to be crates for harvesting apples. Yeah, it's just a bonus that they are so beautiful, and again, solid wood, which can be quite expensive. And yeah, I'm absolutely obsessed with those crates, and I'm so happy that I found them secondhand. The next thing I bought secondhand this year are books. Generally, I try not to buy too many books because we already have so many, and so many that I haven't read, so it's just better to read the ones that I already have and haven't read. But I'm also a part of a book club here in the city I live in, so I do kind of, if I want to read along, I have to buy or borrow the book. The first thing I check is always a used book website that I use. I think it's only here in Germany, called Minimalism. And if they don't have it there, there is even a second website called Rebuy that I check there. And if they don't have it as well, then sometimes I will buy the book new, but that is definitely a very rare occasion and I try not to do. Nextly, something I bought used this year was a leather jacket. As a vegan, I wouldn't buy a leather product new in general, since I just don't want to add to the suffering of animals. But I do really love the look of a kind of badass studded leather jacket, and I was kind of keeping this in the back of my mind, and I came across the one that I got that was very affordable compared to the price new, and was just the look I was looking for, and was really happy. So I snatched it up and yeah, bought that leather jacket. And hopefully I will have that for years to come. Now the next two items are also clothes, and clothes that were very unnecessary in my opinion, that were more of an impulse buy. One was a really beautiful yellow flowery summer dress. Actually when it came and I tried it on, it fit really awkwardly on me. It was definitely too big, but I turned it into a really fun DIY project and kind of changed the neckline of the dress to make it more flattering for me. And that was so much fun. And just sewing in general, I feel like I've fallen in love with that activity. It's so much fun. And the dress is really beautiful. It was somewhat affordable, but in general, my goal with this challenge or this project is to save on environmental resources, which I'm always doing, even if I'm buying secondhand things for not so cheap. And with the summer dress, I also bought this summer strapless top that I thought was really cute, and I just wanted to, I think it was during the springtime where I was really mentally preparing myself for summer, so I started buying summer things. I have found that I tend to do that every year, that when summer rolls around, I'm so excited that I want to buy new summer clothes, which is really unnecessary and something that I want to try to stop doing. And this year it hasn't been that hot yet, so I have only gotten to wear that top once, which is a shame, but I will continue to wear that until it is worn out. Nextly, I bought a pair of Birkenstock shoes. I was missing my summer sandals. I had sold them, or they were worn out, and all I had were my sneakers for summer, and I don't like suffocating my feet in shoes during summertime, so I was really missing some open shoes where my feet could breathe. But at the same time, I wanted shoes that are more healthy for my feet, that could support my feet better. And yeah, why not buy Birkenstock? I mean, I am from Germany, they're cult German shoes, and I've never actually owned a pair, but I definitely wanted to buy them secondhand. And let me tell you, there are so many secondhand Birkenstock available. I guess because they're just so popular and people just have them lying around. And I actually managed to get a pair that is brand new. The owner said she only wore it once, and for a pretty good price. They are very expensive in my opinion, but I got it for I think half of what it would usually cost, and they were brand new and they fit perfectly, and I really like the style of them and the color of them. Now all I have to do is break them in, because they are painful to wear when they're new, let me tell you. And the last used item I bought this year was a backpack. I have one backpack that is too small for the use that I have for it. I often find myself jamming in books and snacks and water in there, so I wanted to upgrade my backpack to a bigger one, and luckily my friend, she loves my small backpack, so I will be gifting that to her. And I was able to find one secondhand, and one that has this beautiful woven design that I really like, and it's just huge. I can fit anything and everything in there, so I'm really happy with that find, especially also because I don't love the backpack designs that are trending right now. That means if I buy a backpack new, it will most likely have like a trendy shape or design that I don't love. So in contrast, I now wanted to show you guys all the things that I bought new this year. So the first thing I bought new was I don't know what to call it, ear scraper, kind of to clean out your ears. I used to use cotton buds, and I know you're not supposed to do that in general, but I don't know, I like cleaning out my ears. And yeah, I found this, it's like this little metal thing that you can clean out your ears with, and it's reusable, and it was so affordable. I bought that at the pharmacy, and I love it. I bought that for firstly, hygiene reasons, and secondly, I wouldn't even know whether you could buy that secondhand. I don't think people use that often in general. Next thing is a moon cup, which is like a reusable, you could kind of imagine like a reusable tampon, definitely a period product, and I wouldn't recommend buying that secondhand for hygiene reasons. Yeah, with the moon cup, I also bought reusable period underpants that replace pads, and again, hygiene reasons, I wouldn't buy that secondhand. Nextly, I bought a piercing secondhand, this one on top. I previously already had one, but it got lost, I think in the shower, or I just noticed it was gone and I couldn't find it anywhere. So I went ahead and bought a new one. And I am very particular when it comes to the material of the piercing that I put into my ears, so I wanted to be sure to know what material it was, and I have a very specific design in mind, so I decided to buy that new for one, to make it easier on me. Since buying secondhand, you do sometimes have to dig through stuff or dig through posts, and again, to be sure that this has the material that I want. Next thing I bought new was bed sheets. We have 4 sets of bed sheets to rotate, that when one's been washed, we can use the other one, but then one set broke. It was so old that the fabric just was just so thin that it broke in a bunch of different places. I was already patching it up, but it was past its time. I think the bed sheet is 30 years old. It was my parents that I kind of inherited in a sense, but it was time for new bed sheets, and I didn't want to buy used ones, for one, for hygiene reasons, and also I definitely wanted white bed sheets out of cotton. And white bed sheets here in Germany are something that is very rare. Most people have super colorful bed sheets that I just don't like. Next thing I bought new is a pair of garden scissors, or yeah, I guess garden scissors. To be honest, this one I could have bought used, and I did check the eBay listings to see if people were selling them used, and they were, but for some reason, for double the amount than they would cost new. It didn't feel right to pay double the amount for a used pair of garden scissors. So I bought them new for far less. The next thing is a hair clip, actually this one. This one I could have also bought used, to be honest. I did also check websites for used hair clips, but again, they were rather expensive for what it was, and I didn't find a design that I loved. I mean, I could have kept looking until I found one, but at some point I kind of gave in, to be honest, and bought them new. Then I also bought a bike helmet for safety reasons. I bought this one new. It is advised that if your helmet experiences some force trauma, or if you let it fall from a large height, or you've fallen with the helmet, it's advised to buy it new, since it can have micro cracks and it's just not as safe anymore as when they're new. So for that reason, I bought the bike helmet new. And I also needed a more secure bike lock. And this one, again, I could have actually bought used. To be honest, I didn't really think of buying the lock used. I just went ahead and bought it with the helmet when I was on the website. But yeah, to be honest, this one I could have bought used. Then I bought a bra new. I was on the brink of buying it used, but it wasn't out of cotton, and was really particular with the material. I prefer to wear natural materials on my skin, and especially with undergarments, I'm even more particular then. And just also for hygiene reasons, I wasn't that comfortable buying undergarments used. Then I also bought fabric to sew with. I wanted to sew a pillowcase. To be honest, this one was also a little bit of an impulse buy. I just fell in love with the print of the fabric, and yeah, I just went ahead and bought that. But next time I will try to maybe purchase dead stock fabric. I know that that is also an option, even on the fabric website that I was shopping on, and that is also a great way to be more gentle on the environment. And last but not least, I bought a plumber. Is that, no, not a plunger. I bought that new. I mean, I guess I could have probably bought that secondhand, but to be honest, it was kind of an emergency situation. Our tub was not draining well and we weren't really able to shower, and that was just a big ordeal. And it was a great investment also environmentally, because previously, I don't know why, but we were using these harsh chemicals that you pour into your drain to unclog it, and that is just horrible for the environment. So we are switching over to using the plunger, which is just so much more environmentally friendly, and also, to be honest, so much more healthy for us. You don't want to be breathing in those fumes of the chemical, and it's just so much more effective and faster to just plunge. So these were the things I bought secondhand and I bought new up until now this year. I have to say the list of the new items is longer, which I thought was a shame or I was sad about, but it was a great challenge to actually check or think about whether I'm able to get this used before I go and buy the item new. Save on resources, save money, and you find such unique items and you have such beautiful interactions with people. So going forward, down the second half of 2022, I want to try to buy more used stuff and less new things. And I found this list in general as a minimalist to be just so interesting to see what I bought and for what reasons and whether it was necessary or not. And I definitely had some impulse buys this year. So maybe I'm even going to reinstate a no buy in general, because I did that the last 1.5 years, I think. And that was so great because I didn't have any impulse buys and I didn't miss shopping. But once the no buy challenge was over, I find myself impulse buying sometimes and I'm not loving it. So I hope you found this video interesting. Do you shop secondhand a lot? What are your experiences with it? What is your favorite secondhand item that you've bought? For me, it's definitely the carpet. It's so beautiful. I absolutely love it. I hope it holds up for the rest of my life because it's just so, such a stunning piece. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos on minimalism, on living with less and intentionally. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.